The Southern Upland Way, Day 14, Long for Makers to Coburn's Path, 23 miles. The final stage of the Southern Upland Way wends its way to the coast through primarily arable countryside, with a few hills thrown in for good measure. Once again we had lovely weather to help us on our way. An amazing sunrise from my bedroom window on the dawn of our final day on the trail. I took this as a good omen. After a long taxi ride back to the trail in Long for Makers, we are 1.5 miles into our day here, with the wind turbines on Black Hill looming large as we cross the brow of the hill. Great anti-slip material on this style. We walked past a lot of cows in fields. Arriving in Abbey St Barthan's at around the halfway stage during our day. The Kirk of Lemonmuir, Abbey St Barthan's. The bouncy Gurkha Bridge, which crosses White Adder Water in Abbey St Barthan's. Our 13th and final kiss. We did a little dance and congratulated ourselves on finding all 13 kists along the trail. Timber on Blakestone Moor. A cairn just before Whitburn Farm to celebrate 100 years of occupation of the farm by the Coburn family. The trail has been rerouted slightly to the right of the next farm, Blackburn Mill Farm, so that walkers can avoid both the farm and its dogs. Approaching the A1 and then crossing the main Edinburgh railway line. We saw a lot more cows en route. Walking through the Penmanshiel Wood with just 3 miles to go. Our first sighting of the sea as we raced through the Peasdean Wildlife Reserve. As we descended through the woods towards a small stream running below, we were going hell for leather and gunning for the finish line when another one of those serendipitous incidents occurred. We had to brake hard as we reached the bridge because the bridge and the grassy slopes on either side were covered with lots of bodies. At least that's what it looked like to us initially. Then we realised that the bodies belonged to people who were forest bathing and having a sound bath being facilitated by a lady on the bridge. By this stage we couldn't stop and crashed right through the middle of them, apologising with silent gestures as we went. It must have been quite a shock for the participants, who were all totally chilled out, to experience 2 gung-ho walkers looking like tramps come charging right through their midst. We felt bad about it, but really didn't have much choice, and after all, reaching the finishing line was the most important thing on our agenda that day, and no amount of forest or sound bathing was going to stop us. Later on that evening, after I had posted a few of our completion photos on the Southern Upland Way Facebook group, which we had joined just after beginning our walk, I was contacted by the lady who was leading the sound bath, offering her congratulations. We had a great exchange of messages because I apologised to her for crashing through their event and told her that under different circumstances I would have been one of the people crashed out on the bridge, soaking up the ambiance. I explained that I was a keen yoga and Reiki practitioner and I love a good sound bath myself, and I told her about my YouTube channel, In My Magical Footsteps. She explained that the sound bath was part of a fundraising festival for Groundswell Scotland, a movement designed to heal, empower and unite through surfing, and which provides surf therapy and community programs for women. Anyway, it would seem that I now have quite a few new subscribers to my channel as a result of this and other encounters that we had along the trail. Serendipity indeed. Pease Bay and the start of a 1.5 mile section along the cliffs to Cove Harbour. This caravan park was quite a blot on the landscape, but you can totally understand why it was put there since it is such a pretty spot. Pease Sands. Just 2 miles to go as we head along the coastal path. Pease Sands and Red Rock with Cove Harbour behind and the Torness Power Station in the far distance. From the village of Cove we raced down the cliff path and through the 200-foot long access tunnel to reach Cove Harbour. Aerial view of Cove Harbour. Mum and son selfie in Cove Harbour, said to be the spiritual end of the Southern Upland Way. We took off our rucksacks, extricated the stones we had carried across the country from the beach in Port Patrick and ritually cast them into the sea. It was an incredibly satisfying moment. Returning to the cliff top via the tunnel. En route to Coburn's Pass, which lies about 1 mile inland from the coast at Cove Harbour. Approaching Coburn's Path. Alex had stayed behind in Cove Harbour to get some drone footage, and I was walking on my own at this stage when something amazing happened. I looked to the left, and a large roe deer was standing in the field right next to the trail. Our eyes met for a brief moment in time, and then it ran off across the field. This really felt like an auspicious moment. It was like my guides were giving me their blessing and saying, "We told you so. We knew you could and would do it." Triumphant flourish at the Mercat Cross in Coburn's Path, the official end or start of the Southern Upland Way. Mum and son selfie at the finishing line in Coburn's Path. Lessons learnt. Pride comes before a fall. The Southern Upland Way has a brilliant treasure hunt and is unique in this respect. There are a lot of bulls along the Southern Upland Way. There is a lot of water along the Southern Upland Way. Rain, streams, rivers, lochs, reservoirs. But those pesky otters are still eluding me. The Southern Upland Way is not just a physical challenge, it is a mental one as well. The Southern Upland Way is magical. It strips you to the core, seeps into your soul. In retrospect, it is probably the greatest thing I have ever done, and I imagine I will be processing all the lessons it has taught me for many years to come. And did we find Gollum? We certainly found a lot of treasure. I came close on Lowther Hill when I went deep into my pain cave, which could be compared to Gollum's deep cavern in the misty mountains, and transcended my shadow self. Our treasure. The proof. For the full story about our epic adventure, please see my other videos in this series, the preview and days 1 to 13.